A pleasant and a very good Friday, everyone. Welcome to Friday, October 9th, 2020. Finally, changes are coming. I know a lot of you have enjoyed this weather, and who wouldn't? But we also have extremely high fire danger. We need help on the forest fires burning in Wyoming and Colorado. A change is welcome for many. And the change is going to come in the form of a cold front arriving Saturday night and Sunday. It's a fast mover, so it's really hard to get excited that this is really going to produce much moisture, but it's going to bring some. Want to give a heads up to hunters in northern and western Wyoming. You know, the Bighorn Mountains, the Wind River Mountains, around Yellowstone Park, around Jackson, into the Wind Rivers, up around Pinedale, Big Piney. There's going to be a pretty good slug of some rain and then some snow coming in late Saturday night and Sunday. Then across the rest of Wyoming's mountains and into the mountains of northern Colorado, some rain and snow showers coming in on Sunday. But east of the divide, we're just not going to get much moisture out of this front. Do expect a rather cool, blustery Columbus Day Monday. For those of you who have Monday off, well, it's going to be kind of a windy, chilly day, but the front will be gone and we'll go back to clearing skies. And temperatures are going to warm up Tuesday and Wednesday, but a hemispheric pattern change is underway. We'll show you that here in a minute. So expect changing forecasts in the week ahead. We're changing the dynamic now with this cold front. While this cold front maybe is not going to bring as much weather as some of us hoped, it is setting in motion long-term changes for the second half of October for North America. Flow from the northwest will mean a cooler trend in the longer term, and that's all part of that hemispheric pattern change. Here we are today. Boy, this looks like the same map we showed you all week. We have this warm, high-pressure ridge, southwest flow, pumping in warmer air from the deserts. Hurricane Delta now heading up into East Texas and Louisiana. And here's the weather pattern change that's coming our way. I want you to pay attention to what happens up here in the higher latitudes as I show you these maps going forward. As we get into Sunday morning, we can see a pretty sharp Pacific cold front coming on in. This is a healthy cold front for October. Going to bring in northwest flow. It's going to bring in Pacific moisture. We're going to see some badly needed precipitation falling in this area here as the front comes on by. You won't see the front produce too much shower activity once it gets east of the mountains. But notice, instead of a high pressure ridge, we got a trough coming in, and here's the ridge reforming in the eastern Pacific. That's where we want it if the weather pattern changes. Precipitation looks like this. Goodly amount of moisture in the Cascades, Washington and Oregon, even east of the mountains and in the eastern Oregon and Washington, some showers. As you notice, we showed you this yesterday. If you notice where the mountain ranges are, right here, you can see that the heavier moisture is grabbed by the Cascades. The Idaho mountains grab some more. The Yellowstone Plateau, the Wind Rivers, the Beartooths grab more. And once you get to the Continental Divide Mountains here, there's still some moisture, but not nearly as much left. This is like your taxes. Here's your paycheck at the beginning. Here's your federal, state, and local taxes, and this is what's left here. That's what the net is. So you just lose a lot of moisture as these head east, and so you get east of the divide, and you just don't get as much moisture out east. But this will certainly be helpful for the Mullen Fire, the Cameron Peak Fire, but we need more. But the change in the weather really is going to be taking place longer term because of this front. Now, this is by Monday. By Monday, the front is actually all the way into the Great Lakes. A cool northwest wind flow comes in. Notice the lines here, they're stacked close together, so we have a pretty stout jet stream coming in from the northwest. That unfortunately is going to make Monday kind of a colder, windy day. High pressure, though, remains in the eastern Pacific. Going forward, by Tuesday, notice there's not much going on here. We have Tuesday a more west to northwest flow coming in from the southeast. But this little ripple here doesn't look like much, does it? But it's going to set in motion a bigger change here. And that's why I want you to watch what happens here in the next couple of charts. As we get into the end of the week by Thursday, high pressure builds into the Gulf of Alaska. That turns the jet stream down like this. Notice this blue area here, this upper level low. Then you notice this here. You notice this here. This is classic. As you get into late October, you start to build these cold air masses up in the higher latitude. And like spokes on a wheel, you get these little waves that form around this vortex of colder air that's building up into Canada. These are going to head southeast along the flow. So as long as the ridge builds here in the Gulf of Alaska, northwest winds aloft will develop for a large part of the United States. So by the end of next week and next weekend, the trend is going to be colder from the Rockies or at least the Continental Divide east. The question is, how far west will the cold air go? Certainly, this is not good news for California, this area here, because the colder air and the moisture is just not going to reach. By 10 days out, notice how all of this colder air gets consolidated here, and we have this big ridge of high pressure up here. So what will happen is there's going to be a lot of cold air right here building. Those days are a lot shorter up there. The nights are a lot longer. We talked about the snow cover in Siberia. The colder air is there. It's building. And then if you go look at this, 10 days out, again, this is 10 days from now, but notice the colder air spilling along and east of the Continental Divide. Now, it's possible the colder air may be directed more towards the central part of the United States, and we go right back to warm, dry weather again. That's on the table. It can also get pushed a little bit further west as well, making all of the Rockies colder. So it's something we're going to watch because the cold air could end up east. It could end up more west. That's why at the beginning of the podcast, I said, be ready for changeable weather forecasts in the long term. There's a lot that could be changing with the current pattern we're in, and it all gets started with this cold front as we get into Saturday night and Sunday. Have a good weekend, everybody. We'll talk to you on Monday.